Hi guys, Chrono here. When I was a kid, I really didn't have the money for any sort of remote-controlled cars, not any good ones anyway. Now, thanks to the magic of technology, I don't really feel like I need one since I bought Rocket League. Rocket League pits two teams of cars against each other in a large arena to play one of three games: basketball, hockey, or probably most famously soccer. I do apologize in advance, by the way, but I will be calling it soccer instead of football. I live in America, so calling it football sounds weird. Anyway, the only other mechanic of note of Rocket League is the very thing that gives the game its name: giant rockets attached to the back of every vehicle. The rocket is fueled by pickups scattered around the map, both very common small canisters that fill a small portion of your tank, and larger canisters that completely fill it, but is often in very few and very inconvenient locations. The rocket boost allows you not only to get a ton of speed to cross the map quickly, it also allows you to fly if you point the nose towards the sky and boost. That's really where the game starts to get really crazy. Once you start to reliably control yourself while in the air, you can pull off some absolutely insane tricks. This is a big part of why the game is so popular. There's a massive skill ceiling for players. There's always something you can improve on in your gameplay, be it defending, positioning, or aerial control. For the record, I do not claim to be any good at this game. I hit about 25% of the aerial shots I attempt, and of those, almost none of them are aimed toward the goal. I've scored one aerial goal in my 74 hours of playtime. That said, I am better than some of the people who you can find on the game, especially in the casual mode. Lots of players don't really understand how to get the ball moving in a useful direction. They'll just sort of hit it and hope it happens to go in the right direction. This makes it really impossible for me to play anything but goalie, since if I'm not near the back of the pitch, then nobody is, which makes this an easy target. I don't particularly mind though. Staying back means that I can sit and wait for an opening in their defenses, where I can scoop in and score a quick goal that my teammates set up but can't capitalize on because they're in stupid positions. The thing I love most about this game is exactly that. There are so many levels of skill to this game, and all of them can play in the same field. It isn't like most competitive games where the fate of a game can hang on a single person, and it isn't like actual sports where there's any sort of pressure to actually succeed. It's just a good, fun game for people to have fun with, and this game is very, very good. It's one of my all-time favorites, even though I hardly ever play it. The mechanics are simple to understand, the controls are intuitive, and it looks gorgeous, and it runs on computers with the graphics processing power of a twice-baked potato. Perhaps equal to all of that, I love the way they've released the DLC for the game. Since the original release of Rocket League, there have been 13 DLC packs, not including the 2 soundtrack releases. Each DLC includes a new car or two, plus some customization items for about $2. That in itself is not impressive. What is impressive is that with most DLCs, there's a new map that all players are free to play at any time. This is how DLC should always be released to keep a community growing. By keeping maps accessible to all players regardless of owned DLC, you can keep a community together for a lot longer. Modern first-person shooters are notorious for releasing map DLCs that split a community. On PC, this is even more of a problem since our communities are often smaller for those kinds of games than they are on consoles. Titanfall 2 will be releasing maps for free as well, which is an awesome step forward for the genre. Rocket League isn't without its flaws, no game truly is, but most of them can be glossed over. There is mouse and keyboard support, but you almost always need to use a controller if you want to play professionally. They recently added a crate system and item trading, which may or may not appeal to you. I personally hate the crate system, but you may think it adds longevity to the game, just a disagreement. But for each of those negatives, there's just another positive. PS4 and PC crossplay means that you have nearly double the number of people to play with at any given time, if you can handle the higher ping that PS4 players tend to have. The quick chat system is fantastic both on a controller and a keyboard. It's the same sort of system that Hi-Rez uses on Tribes, Ascend, Smite, and Paladins most recently. Except, it's not quite as massive of a list of options. Now that I think about it, you could totally replace most of the voice actions in Paladins with those found in Rocket League. That's interesting. Anyway, whatever. In conclusion, I think that Rocket League is a fantastic game. It's a game that I think that everyone needs to play a couple of rounds with some friends, preferably drunk, but I suppose that's optional. My biggest problem with Rocket League isn't with the game itself, it's with the players. There is a certain sort of behavior that emerges with competitive games where they take trash talk just a little too far. The most easy example I can think of for this would be typing EZ instead of GG. Or alternately GGEZ, but you know, it's basically the same thing. That isn't funny. It isn't respectful to your opponent. It doesn't actually do anything. It just makes you look like an idiot. And a lot of people do it, which bothers me. Do you really have nothing better to do with your life than to play a video game to the point where you can consistently win matches, and then insult your opponents who aren't doing as well? Why would you not try and improve their gameplay so that you can actually have a sort of challenge? Is it fun for you to overwhelmingly win a match and then insult the people you beat? I don't understand it. I really don't. You are wasting both their time and their money from a certain point of view in an online game where you don't have to. If you would just stay quiet, maybe they would play another match with you even though they lost. By being a toxic player, you are basically keeping people from playing the game. Someone who might otherwise have bought Rocket League might hear from a friend that the community is incredibly toxic, and they won't want to play. I've had this happen with CSGO. I've had this happen with League of Legends. Not quite as much with Rocket League, since the quick chat system limits some of the trash talk, but it does happen. Thank you guys for watching. I know this one was a little shorter, but Rocket League is just such a simple, fun little game that it's just something that you have to try and see if you like it for yourself. So, with that out of the way, next week I will be doing either Titanfall 2, which I just picked up on winter sale for like 30 bucks, it was awesome, or I will be doing Star Ocean 3. For those of you who haven't heard of Star Ocean 3, it's a JRPG that was released on PS2 like it was like 10 years ago or something like that. It's one of my favorite games of all time, so I will have great fun with that. Either way, let me know if you want me to do these 2 games or something else that I will leave in the description. I've left, as usual, a link to all of my games. So yeah, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Happy holidays, and I will see you guys next year.